Hello again, everybody. This is John with BestPriceNutrition.com. Today we have the National Educator for Garden of Life, Jay Bouquet, with us. We're going to discuss the new products that are relatively new, the raw enzymes from Garden of Life. So let's go ahead and let's define what an enzyme is. I think sometimes people see it, guys who take protein powders will say, there's some enzymes in there, or whatever you take. What is an enzyme specific for digestion? What does it mean?
Well, enzymes are actually, they're made of proteins. They're little proteins, but they have very unique structures or shapes that allows them to actually break something down. They lower the activation energy required for a reaction to take place. That's an easy way of saying is that they help speed up the rate of chemical reaction. So as it pertains to digestive enzymes, they're like little pairs of scissors that help to sort of break down the bonds between the proteins, the fats, the carbohydrates, and the fibers that we consume.
Okay. Now, these are all raw enzymes, so what does that mean that we call them raw enzymes as opposed to any other enzyme supplement?
Well, any Garden of Life product that has the raw designation or raw label really has to do with, at no point in the process from when something is grown or harvested all the way through when it's dried and processed, is it exposed to temperatures that would denature or reduce the potencies of even the most heat-sensitive component in that given ingredient or food system. So for the sake of most foods or ingredients, enzymes and also living probiotic organisms are the most heat-sensitive. So raw has to do with potency of enzymes and probiotics.
And as you mentioned, since they're proteins, they are sensitive, so they can get denatured and
heat will actually change their shape, and their shape is what dictates their function. So if they're a different shape, they can't actually break that.
Sure, if
that
I'm
bond.
breaking this down and now it's this, that's not going to work.
So.
Okay. Now, who should take these? I know we get a lot of questions. We get a lot of athletes that'll ask us, should I take enzymes? Should anybody every day take them, or who would you kind of see these for?
I actually think they're beneficial to take every day with every meal. The reality is we used to and we probably should consume foods that are much easier to digest than the ones that we currently consume. So when you consume something that's raw, the enzymes that are inherent to that food haven't been broken down because of the heat or the processing, and that food can almost digest itself, and our body doesn't have to release a bunch of enzymes to digest that food. And the enzymes that our bodies do produce actually have other metabolic uses and purposes in terms of our joints and our immune system. So sparing that is a good thing. Definitely the people right off the bat that are going to experience the most immediate benefits are going to be the people that have intolerances, indigestion. If you eat something and it's heavy and it bloats you and it doesn't agree with you, or you get gas, those are going to be the people that are going to benefit from enzyme supplementation right off the bat.
Yeah, I know some people say, well, if I'm going to have a bad meal, I'll take enzymes. But you're saying it's more should be an everyday type usage for. You identify the people who you'd probably bump this supplement up and do. Personally, in our other video we talked about essentials, probiotics, multivitamin, essential fatty acid for me, protein powder for others that may not fall into that, but this would be the next category below, very helpful, but for those people that you just mentioned, the people with some digestive problems may want to put that up into essential.
Yeah, any kind of digestive issue, especially an intolerance or gas or bloating, or maybe even something a little more serious, but those are going to be the people that experience benefits from enzymes. But everybody outside of just intolerance or food not agreeing with you, in terms of energy level, in terms of immune system function, having ample enzymes available for your whole body by making food easy to digest is definitely going to be a good thing as well.
So you're able to allocate energy towards other processes that may be needed instead of digestion. It should be an easier
digestion's
process.
A very energy requiring process. If you've ever eaten like an organic raw snack, like an apple and a little handful of raw almonds, you feel great an hour or two later. You eat, a Big Mac and soda and fries, and you feel bogged down and weighed down and heavy and tired and lethargic. So, digesting food is a very energy requiring process, and sort of lowering the activation energy required to break it down is a good thing for your whole body.
And even if you do splurge once in a while, you want to have McDonald's. I mean, we're all humans, so sometimes you like to eat those things, or cheesecake, whatever your vice is. This is going to even benefit you. Now, not that those should be your everyday habits, but once in a while, it's okay to splurge, and this will make it even easier for you, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to advocate McDonald's, but let's just say that big Thanksgiving meal that we all consume, that's a lot of food in your gut, and taking an enzyme is definitely going to help break it down.
Okay. Well, next on top of that, then there are questions about dosage, and let's specifically cover these raw enzymes, the men, women, 50 wiser. What makes these different and unique.
Yeah, men, women, and people over the age of 50 actually tend to eat a little bit differently. If you look at the levels or percentages of the various macronutrients, meaning protein, carbohydrates, and lipid that they consume, in general, the men, we tend to consume more protein and more fat. We tend to be, meat eaters. So the men's formulas are actually a little bit more potent in terms of digesting those types of foods. The women's formulas, because your average woman is going to consume more plant-derived food than so animal food, we've got some of the key carbohydrate digesting enzymes amplified. And in the 50 Wiser formulas, which are for people over the age of 50, protein digestion becomes more difficult as we age, and protein consumption is really important as we age in terms of our immune system, our muscle mass, our bone structure. So we've got an even increased capacity or ability to help digest proteins in the 50 Wiser formulations. Also, all formulas, whether you get the men's or you get the women's or the 50 Wiser, they're all very potent and they're all very broad spectrum. So every formula actually contains 22 different enzymes. And the weird thing about enzymes is that they're very specific as to what they will or will not digest. They tell you to think of it as sort of a lock and key mechanism or relationship. So, pectinase is the enzyme that breaks down only pectin, and cellulase is the enzyme that breaks down only cellulose. And these formulas, compare them to your current digestive enzyme or any other one that you see, on a shelf at a store. We've got a very broad spectrum of digestive enzymes in every single capsule, 22 to be exact.
Now, we talk about these being gender-specific. There's nothing in here gender-specific per se in terms of endocrine system or anything like that. It's more based on dietary habits. So if a female happens to be eating more protein, she may be better off with the men's formula? Would that be?
I'm going to say she could if she wanted to take the men's formula. There's nothing in there that's going to cause any negative effects. But if you do look at the women's formula's level of protease and lipase compared to maybe not the men's formula, but everything else, it's plenty potent, and there's enough there to get the job done.
So there's really no reason not to stick to whether you're female or male to the specific one that's meant for you.
Not really. I mean, the only instance I could think is that if you're an athlete and you're one of those people who you're not just trying to get 1 gram per pound of body weight with regard to protein, you're getting 2.5 or 3. If you want to make the best of that protein, if you want to break it down and absorb it, especially, not just utilize it all but not have gas or bloating, I would do the men's 50 Wiser. That is our heaviest duty protein digesting formulation.
Gotcha. And if you're doing that much, maybe we suggest eating some more carbs and fats so you could spare some of that protein and dial it down to maybe 1 gram so you're not burning it up for energy, because you should be able to stay within that realm and be okay. Now, one thing that we get questions about with enzymes always, and specific to these, would be should you take it with a meal, before a meal, after a meal? Sometimes people are like, oh God, if I take my enzymes 10 minutes later, or should I take them 10 minutes before? Sometimes people get it in their heads that, you got to have this specific, if you don't catch it right within that time after your first chew or whatever, when is the best time to take these?
I would shoot for taking them right before you eat. A lot of people say with your first bite of food, but obviously you want these enzymes, and these are plant-derived enzymes, and they're very capable of working in the broad spectrum of pH environments that exist in your gastrointestinal tract, because your stomach is very acidic, your small intestine is a little bit more alkaline, and these enzymes begin working in the stomach and continue working in the small intestine to help you digest whatever you just ate. They sort of pass the baton like a relay race, one to the next. But yeah, right when you eat is probably the best time. But I liken, food spends a couple hours in your stomach, and then it spends an even greater number of hours in your small intestine. So if you were to forget and go, oh, I forgot to take my enzyme, I just ate, I'm going to take it, it's kind of like showing up 10 minutes late to a movie that's 4 hours long. It's not ideal, but you're still going to get the best of what it has to offer.
Okay. All right, well, I think we did a good job of covering the raw enzymes today. Thanks for your time, Jay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and just go ahead and post your comments in the video section. I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you.